Welcome back, and hopefully a good discussion in terms of how does the board get involved. And clearly, if the issues are strategic around here in terms of strategic risks, then it needs to get baked into the organization strategy. It really just can't sit with a sustainability officer outside the business units. It really needs to get baked into the organization. Now we're going to move to questions, but before I do that, a quick heads up. Included in your package, or you can access this, is a publication that talks about a board role, and it seemed to be getting more and more expansive. It's about greater oversight, deeper insight, which management is always looking for from their board members, boardroom strategies in an era of disruptive change. Not surprisingly, you're going to see a lot talked about growth strategies, innovation, productivity. The theme we've been talking about today, sustainability, will be in there. A couple of discussion points. I think, Alan, you talked about tax, and certainly this issue of responsible tax. However you interpret that is a discussion topic in here. And then clearly one of the key focuses is around talent. Not only getting the right CEO, but how are you doing to grow up the talent within your organization who can deal with technology and social responsibility and so forth. So now let's move to the questions. First one is from Ottawa. How do companies balance social responsibility with corporate taxes and shareholder desire for maximum return for higher stock prices? Bob, I'll let you have a crack at that one.
Okay. Well, I think the framer of the question may have been getting at, is it government's responsibility to deal with social responsibility? And maybe it's a waste of money for corporations to focus on it. And I actually disagree. I think there can be very strong linkages between social and corporate responsibility and creating long-term shareholder value. And it's to some degree, it depends upon the industry you're in. Alan provided some great examples where if you ignore it, it could actually affect the survivability of your company. At a lower level, though, but still really important, I think it can really impact employee morale. I think it can impact revenues. I think it can impact your reputation. I think it can impact your brand by ignoring social linkages, and ultimately all those things can impact revenues and long-term shareholder value creation. So it's sometimes difficult to measure the value of it, but I don't think anyone should ignore it.
This is a great question from Montreal, and we didn't touch on the not-for-profit sector, so I'm glad this question came up. What are the boards and the corporation's sustainability obligations in a charitable not-for-profit corporation? And Wendy, why don't I let you have a stab at this?
I think the obligations in the not-for-profit sector are as strong, or if not stronger, as in the corporate sector. I think that boards should be tasking management and the corporation to be as sustainable as possible. It's all about efficiencies, finding them wherever they can be, and wherever they are, rather. It's about dealing with, it's your donors, it's your, the consumers are demanding it, government demands it. So I would say that the obligations are just as high in not-for-profit.
So this one, I mentioned talent, and this goes to skill sets and developing those. When developing remote projects with First Nations partners, local employment opportunities are limited by existing skills available with local population. How do we close these skill gaps when training needs to start so far in advance of the actual project approvals? And perhaps, Alan, I'll let you take this one.
This is a very, very tough issue, and we at Hudbay are dealing with this in both places, actually, in Manitoba, where we have First Nations communities, and in Peru, where we have Aboriginal communities. Very tough because of the degree of integration, actually, even into society. In Peru, for example, we're dealing with basic literacy before we can even train for mining. So we do a number of things. We obviously sponsor scholarships, mostly in Canada, but also in Peru. We actually have built mining colleges, one in Flin Flon and one in Cusco. We do bring on apprentices. That's subject obviously to union rules, but we love to bring on First Nations people as apprentices. Unfortunately, in some places, particularly in Peru, we're finding it's very difficult to build that talent locally in the pre-development stage. In Peru, about 75% of our workforce is local at various times during the project. And what we've done is really paired up international mining talent along with local talent and trying to bring them on in the development, pre-development, pre-strip phase of the mine that we have. But it's extremely difficult to do, in part because certain Aboriginal communities lack basic skills of integration.
Now, here's one from St. John. Legal license demands lawyers. Social license demands communications. What role does a company's communications or PR professionals have to play, and should they be engaged at the highest level of decision making? Valerie, your thoughts there?
Well, first, it's not a PR exercise, definitely, so demonstrating your social license practices, but communication is absolutely extremely important. I think it's important to think about why you're communicating, to whom, what about, and then how, because again, mapping that against the groups that are involved, you'll be able to be either successful or not in terms of the ability of doing so. I think of a mining company that's looking to communicate to its local communities, putting up a CSR report on a website, expecting somebody to sign on and use social media to access that is really not going to work. We have communication vehicles there where it might be a local storefront where you're on the ground and engaging in that specific way. I think it's also important to organize communication and have a real communication strategy. For a long time, this communication was really happening on an ad hoc basis, and you'd have perhaps some of the environmental folks commenting on something, HR, the sustainability group. It was, people would be producing CSR reports without even going through a disclosure committee. So organizing the messaging, but also providing some governance around the communication of the messages is very important as well. So it's very important, but it really merits to be organized and structured.